This is your one and only FireSpark81 with your daily dose of video goodness, and today we are taking a look at building tips and tricks for Sons of the Forest. Let's get to it. The first tip is to keep Kelvin away from your structures when you have him gathering logs. Your first instinct may be to have him drop the logs off relatively close to where you are building, but when he is dropping the logs off at a specific location, he is not very accurate at the location and just kind of drops them in that general area. Well, when he throws the logs, he can damage your structure, causing large parts of it to collapse. So you want to have him drop logs a little further away than you would expect. The zip line is a must-have tool for any builder. Make sure you get this as soon as possible. This thing is insanely OP. Not only can it allow you to travel pretty long distances relatively fast, it also allows for quick transportation of logs. You can put the logs on the zip line and they will travel the zip line in both directions with no issues. On top of that, you also get the ammo back when you collect the zip line, allowing you to move the zip line whenever you need to. This is super handy for when you are working your way through tearing down an entire forest, and it allows you to quickly and efficiently get all of your logs to a central location. Not only that, you can also shoot and connect the zip line to unfinished prefab structures. And unlike Kelvin, the zip-lined logs do not appear to damage your structure, which also means it can be a very effective delivery system to get the logs directly to where you are building. You can place campfires in your house with no drawbacks. You just build the campfire like you are building it outside on the ground, except you build it inside of your structure. This can be really handy for things like if you build a treehouse. Speaking of treehouses, you may be scared to build one and use one. As it stands right now, at the release time of this video, enemies cannot and will not knock down trees in Sons of the Forest in normal mode. I only tested this in normal mode and I left it go for probably about an hour and a half, and I had everything from cannibals to the giant wheelie looking mutants to the eyeless faceless guys to Mr. Fingerface, everything in between. I was just AFK up there in my treehouse, fully expecting something to eventually knock it down, and nothing did. So you are perfectly safe building tree houses. Once again, this may change in the future, but as it stands now in its early access version, at the version it is at the time of the release of this video, in normal mode, you are safe to build tree houses. Nothing will knock it down. Note that you can knock it down if you take an axe to the tree and you knock the tree down, your tree house will fall. The next tip is when you are building, always build a foundation for your build first. This is because the ground is uneven and it can cause for some wonky issues. I've had issues building without building a foundation first, getting things to align up quickly or to even place in the first place. So make sure you build a foundation first. This will make sure you have a nice even base to work with and everything should build properly without issues. And you can see here in this video, when you do place down a foundation, it will raise the ground in some situations, and you also have situations where it won't raise the ground and you will have to build a little pillar in order to put your build on to get your foundation to be level. You can build in deep water, and one of the easiest ways to do so is to place down a prefab structure. If you walk into the water to the point where you start to swim and then you back up just a little bit so that you are no longer swimming and are walking, and place the prefab structure right in front of you, just a little way off. You'll be surprised at how far out you can actually still place things on it. Once you place it down, you can go collect your logs, stand right at the edge of the water, and place the necessary resources in the prefab. Then you can use the prefab as a jumping off spot to build other things. Also note that you can take a prefab apart and disassemble it as if it were a non-prefab structure once it has been built. If you cancel the prefab at any given point of time before it has been completed, all of the logs will just fall apart. You can make ramps at different angles. This can be super handy for different styles of roofs. You can see here in this example, I placed down a slanted log and then under underneath of it, I placed a half log, and this allowed me to make a slightly less slanted roof. There's a really interesting trick you can do with floating log braces. So this trick works with making custom tree platforms. So you can put logs up against a tree and they will place at a slant. Then you can go through and put a brace underneath of them, which will push them up and make them go straight. However, when you do this, in order to make a platform, you need to place other logs on the opposite side. And in order to do that, you will need a pillar log for support. However, if you don't want to have a pillar log there because it creates a weak spot for your base, all you need to do is place the initial pillar, put two braces on both sides of it, or one side depending on how you want your platform to look, and then you just go through after you replace the braces and you remove the center pillar. In order to make a floating platform, you will need to make a foundation. Once you have made a foundation, go through and place a pillar log in each of the four corners. Then go back through and cut that log in half and restack it. Once you have pillar logs in each of the four corners of the foundation, then go back through and put in the roof part of your logs, or I guess the new foundation for your floating platform. You can see what's happening here in the video. I don't know what to call them. Anyway, so you place them through, and then because the logs are split, for some reason, it then allows you to remove the pillars, and then the structure just floats. This is definitely a bug and will probably get patched at some point, so make use of it now while you can. There's an interesting trick you can do with stacking logs and then placing a slanted log on top of them to create a filled in area, which can allow you to do cool things like make an A-frame structure. In order to do this, you first place down on the ground or wherever you're placing it, it doesn't have to be on the ground, but you first place down a full-size log. Then on top of that, you place a 3/4 log. Then on top of that, you place a half log. And then on top of that, you place a quarter log. Now you could use all 3/4 logs or all whatever size you want that isn't a full-size log if you want to, but then they stick out and it looks weird. So if you stack them the way that I just told you to stack them, it doesn't look weird. After you have your stacked logs, if you take a full-size log, it will give you the option to place it at the diagonal, which creates this cool looking structure here. If you line two of these structures up, it is possible to place a log between the two of them, and it is possible to fill them in with the split logs as well, creating a ramp structure or a roof depending on where you have it placed. Rope bridges can intersect. Placing a rope bridge is really easy. All you have to do is get a rope, hold it in your hand, look at the corner of wherever you want it to place. You should get a little arrow indicating that you're attaching the rope. You attach the rope to it, and then you attach the rope to wherever you want it to connect to. Once you have done this, then you just go get a bunch of logs. You will have the option to split them in half and put them on the rope bridge, and you can crisscross these however you like. Do note that you can also get all of your resources back for taking apart a rope bridge, including the rope. All right, and that is pretty much it for this one. Do you have any cool building tips or tricks? Let me know down there in the comments section. And if you found this video helpful or informational in any way, consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified when I upload other videos. And if you're looking for another Sons of the Forest video, you can find a link to one of those on the screen right now. I want to give an absolute massive shout out and thank you to all of my channel supporters for helping to keep these videos sponsor free. You all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to become an official channel supporter, check out the links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and share your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.